friends, it's Nancy. I have finished my Halloween ABC little golden book, so I thought I'd take the shine off of that. Well, I guess we need a little bit of shine, or else we won't be able to see. So I thought I'd do a quick flip through. So one thing I want to point out is I sewed around the edge of the little golden book. My machine didn't particularly enjoy it. I don't think I would do this again unless it was on a machine that I didn't give a hoot about. Yeah. So anyway, I do like the effect and how it turned out. I've got it closed with a double wrap of vintage seam binding, and I chose this purple color to go with the little ballerina on there. I had tried orange, I tried yellow, I tried black. I didn't like anything, but this this nice light lilac color was really great. So I believe the spine is 1 3/4, and I have used vintage rickrack and this fabric. It says spooky on there. One of my tip outs tipped out. So let's take a look. So I use the pages that are in here. There's 6 signatures, and then added some. There's tabs on each signature that spell out the word beware. And there's not a lot of lace detail. I kind of wanted to keep it creepy and spidery, so I did use some netting, black netting here, and a little bit of black lace, but it's very narrow, and excuse me, I used the same lace throughout. So on the inside, I've got a little place to put a book plate. So this is fabric that I've stitched onto cardstock, and this is this paper inside is actually fly leaf, like the inside of a book. So here's my tab. I've stitched the tabs, stitched on a little bit of lace. I've got the pages in order so that they go A through Z. So we have some coffee dyed paper. Here's a little tuck spot using an image of an older gentleman, some kids carving a jack-o'-lantern. I made this tag. It has fabric and lace. And here's some more coffee dyed, tea dyed paper. Actually, this is a page out of a 1970 magazine that has a kid trick-or-treating. And here I've made this little tip out using a vintage trick-or-treat bag. It's paper, and here's a tag. I've sewn on some fabric here for the tab. And this is paper. It's more like a card, but it came out of a book, like a spiral bound book. And I made these pockets. So here's another ghosty tag, and I've stamped this picture of a bird, a crow, I guess, wearing glasses and having human eyes. And I just stamped the word bird and sewed that on there. This is a journaling space. This is a picture of a book that's, I think this was like in a book about printing or typesetting or something. I can't remember. Anyway, so this is the raven. So I was kind of hoping this kind of looked like a raven. Maybe it does. And I layered this up with some craft colored paper and stitched around it to make a journaling spot. It's the back of that magazine paper. And we have some cardstock. Well, it's scrapbook paper, but it's card weight, double-sided. This is some coffee dyed notebook paper. Here we are on page 3, 4, 5, and we're into the second signature. So here's the tab. I stamped this little image of an owl here on this coffee dyed paper. This is like a tracing paper, and I just glued this little image of a bat on there because you can see the image through the paper, and I just thought, oh, that'll kind of differentiate it from that image. So here's a little lady opening up a jack-o'-lantern. So this is a book page, some yellow writing paper. This is a little flippy thing, so you can add pictures in here, glue in some ephemera. You could like glue this edge down and use this as a tuck, or glue this and this down and have a space to tuck stuff in, but I just left it open. So, I mean, you might even want to take a piece of paper, glue it in there for a journaling spot. This is a cider label that I layered up on some card to make it stiff, and what was it supposed to be in there? This is a Halloween card. It's blank, so you can do some journaling there. This is a wider piece of black lace that I used because this book page was a little short. And I sewed on some netting here. So that's the back of the, I think it's tracing paper, coffee dyed paper. And now we're into the third signature. So there's the W. I made this tuck spot using a recipe from like a church fundraiser sort of cookbook thing. I left this open so you can tuck things in, but I also have these tags. This little Valentine that Miss Stonehome sent to me, and this is a skull, so that can go in there. And I layered up some fabric and a fussy cut of these jack-o'-lanterns here to decorate the bottom. It's stitched around it all. Added a little bit of this, so this had 2-hole punch at the top, so I just added some spidery fabric there. Here's another pocket. Miss Stonehome wrote this out for me. When witches go riding and black cats are seen, the moon laughs and whispers, 'tis near Halloween. And so here's a tag I made. I left a lot of these threads hanging because I thought they were kind of spider leggy. So this is a tag. It's just plain paper. This is a doily that's shaped like a jack-o'-lantern, or a pumpkin anyway. This is a spot you can tuck things. I like these, I think these were certificates or something, but I like sort of this gothic looking trim on the corners. I didn't want to cut it off, so I flipped it up. And here, this is an acetate image of a bat, which I've sewn in. You can take this journaling card out and slip it back up there if you like it, or you can put it somewhere else. I mean, you could even glue it on as a pocket. Or it could go under that little tuck spot that has the dancing witches. But I kind of liked it. Oh my gosh, my fingers aren't working. I kind of liked it under the bat, just to sort of highlight him. So this is book page. Now we're into the third signature. There's the tab. And this is an old magazine page from a children's magazine from the 60s, and it's got a recipe for witch's brew, riddles, little logic problem there, the witch's tree. This is coffee dyed ledger paper. This is an vintage looking image. So I think this was probably an image of a postcard or something. This had a different title on it, and I wanted to cover that title up, so I used a little bit of washi tape. Well, that didn't cover it completely, so I added this piece of paper that I cut out of a book that said October. So I made this little creepy booklet. So it's got coffee dyed note paper inside, and sewed on some raggedy lace. Well, it kind of looks cute when the lace comes down over it. This is some of that old-fashioned computer paper. Let me talk about this for a second. So I really wanted this image. Looks like they're all on a hayride. Computer paper. This is a repurposed envelope, and I stitched on that, just sort of ziggy-zagged over the bat so that his wings were still free. I made this altered paper clip. It's a black paper clip, and I put the N31 from a bingo game on there to represent the date of Halloween, and some more of that green spidery fabric. But inside this coffee dyed envelope, I have put these paper dolls. So these were cut from a children's magazine from the 60s, and you can dress them up. There's 3 kids in there. I've only pulled out 2. There they are. There's the 3rd kid. There's the witch's hat. Just to make these a little stronger, resilient, I guess, I backed them with some vintage writing paper, just to sort of stiffen them up a bit. And inside the envelope, it's got this black printing. Put all the kids back in there and put the paper clip on so they don't fall. It computer paper. So this is Franken paper, where I just took scraps of Halloween scrapbook paper and stitched it together. And to decorate this, I added that black netting, ruffled up that black netting. On the back, because it was all white with the stitching, I added this cutout from a book that says Halloween, and made this pocket with this owl fabric. It says Boo. Here's a bookmark, and here is another page of that book, like the picture of a book in the book. It says Tales by Edgar A. Poe. I backed it onto craft colored paper and stitched on this black lace as a tab. This is an altered paper clip. It's a giant paper clip, and I used a vintage stamp that says the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And this little journaling card has the alphabet on it in black. And I thought, oh, I'll add that because this is an alphabet book. So I just layered the stamp onto some card and added some cheesecloth. This actually has a little fold there, so you could tuck something inside there. Oh, magazine paper. Now we're into the 5th. I should make sure we're in the center here. Into the 5th signature. Here's some paper. I think this was from a sketchbook or something. Like, it's pretty hardy. I stamped this image of an owl down there. Here's those kids carving a pumpkin. This is tea-dyed manuscript paper and another pumpkin doily. Some craft colored paper from a notebook. I just added this fussy cut of a crow or a raven. Here's another piece of Franken paper. I added some washi tape there. That's this sketch paper. So here is the final signature. Here's the tab. And we have some double-sided scrapbook paper. This is from a calendar. Some craft color paper with a fussy cut image of kids hearing ghost stories. This is tea-dyed graph paper. Put this orange envelope in and closed it up and made this tag. So this came out of a children's encyclopedia or something, and it talks about Halloween. So I backed it onto this green cardstock, added a button and some black netting, and it describes what Halloween is. And here's a little fussy cut image there. And there's another bat. This is from that same calendar. It says Moonrise over the Catskills. So I made this little collage out of lace and fabric and book page and some vintage rickrack. So this I coffee dyed. This is an image I cut out of a book. It looks like a Halloween card that, an older Halloween card, but it was cut out of a book. And last page. And here I made this pocket, and I have included this card. This came out of a book about friendship. And there's Linus and Charlie Brown in the pumpkin patch. So I just backed it onto some green paper. Actually, this green paper was one of the fly leaves in the book. So I thought, well, I'll use that up. So I stitched some black seam binding on here as a tab. So that is Halloween ABC. If you're seeing this video, it has been uploaded to my Etsy shop. The link will be in the comments. And I hope you enjoyed seeing this and got some ideas. You know, I recently did buy a sewing machine at a yard sale. You know, sort of if it was a car, we'd call it a winter beater. So I might get that out and see if I can start using it and do some more stitching on these little golden books, because I really like how it turned out. So thank you so much. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and we will talk to you again soon.